reaching you from our headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria. I say good morning and welcome to Enterprise Morning right here on Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igubike.
And I'm Choma Jorge.
So we're about to head to our newspaper review segment. But just before that, if you haven't already, please join us and have a say in what we say by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Enterprise TV7 and visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Our guest for this segment is Dr. Olushola Ganiyu, a tax consultant. Good morning to you, sir, and welcome to Enterprise Morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you so very much for giving us your time, most importantly. So let's quickly start off our newspaper headlines today. But just before that, we have an interesting story that we'd love to take a bite on, and that is on the treaty violation. Court gives a Chinese firm go ahead to seize Nigeria's property in UK, and we have it authoritatively from the cables. That is, in 2010. Zhongsheng True Zuhai Songfu Industry Group Limited, it's a Chinese parent company, acquired rights to develop a free trade zone in Ogun State. A year later, Zhongsheng set up a Zongfu International Investment, a Nigerian entity, to manage the project under the permission of the Ogun State government. Things took a different turn in July of 2016 when the company accused the state government of abruptly moving to terminate its appointment while attempting to install a new manager for the free trade zone. Subsequently, Zongfu initiated an investment treaty arbitration against Nigeria under the bilateral investment treaty between the People's Republic of China and Nigeria. Now, this is a very big issue, a slap to Nigeria, if you would permit me to use that phrase. This is an issue that started in 2010 under Daniels, yes, and it was terminated in 2016 under Dapo Abiodun. Now, let's not forget the rift between both politicians. Sure. Now, why do you think a rift between two individuals is causing so much to Nigeria, especially with this particular case? We're losing two properties worth $70 million already in the UK.
It's a painful situation, right? And what we don't know is that governance should be continuous. Yeah. We should not run governance with personal feelings or with the idea that I must pay my predecessor the coin in which he used. Now, the same thing happened in Lagos when Ambode came into power, and maybe he was not a fan of Fashola, and he tactically stopped all the project that Fashola was doing, and all those real estate and every other Lagos home and every other thing just went into the drum, right? And so a lot of money was wasted. And this is because we don't have understanding that this is taxpayers' money, for crying out loud. It's not personal money. It's for the benefit of the country, right? And for the benefit of the people and the state, not for individual benefit. So you don't take laws into your hands. And also, have it as it may be, outside the country, they might not know what is Lagos State, what is Ogun State, what is Ondo State. All they know is we are going to Nigeria to invest.
Very true.
There's nothing like, they can say if they want to say we are in Nigeria. So there's nothing like, in Lagos, this is Oyo State. So we are going to Nigeria. Check the tax laws in Nigeria if it's favorable. Check the custom duties in Nigeria if it's good enough. All they know is Nigeria. So if any state has an issue with them, it's Nigeria's name. Nobody knows who Dakwa is in the global space. Nobody knows Benga Daniel. The people that is fighting for this is Nigeria. The property they are seizing is not Ogun State property. It's not Lagos State property. It's Nigerian property in Liverpool. Then they come over and say that, there's a judgment. And you know, it's only in this country that we don't respect judiciary. And we don't, because they wield so much power. Look at Donald Trump. He's fighting for his life. He's next to in office because there are judgment. And you know, it's in this country that we throw impunity into the air. It's like there's what we call salami tactics. Salami tactics says that you do something, though bad, You start doing it little by little. If nobody is talking, you expand it. Nobody talks again, you expand it. Until you grow to become a monster, or nobody can curb it again. It becomes a wildfire. Right? That is salami tactics. And one professor of politics once says that, the best way to curb impunity is not to tolerate it at all. Kill it immediately. Don't let it see the light time of the day. And this is what they do in China. Take it or leave it. You are found corporate, irrespective of who you are in the country. Your caliber. There's one CEO of multinational telecommunication in Nigeria. He was found guilty in China. They sent him to jail. So that's how they roll, and that's how you see their economy is booming, because someone will be used as a deterrent. So let's come back to it. They secured a judgment in the UK, and we also have a window to appeal and also or to make things. So even we can go back to them and say, let's settle outside court. We will talk to this, but you go back. But now, not only losing that investment, we are also losing our property. Now, if that investment is in Ogun State, you know the number of people that will be employed? Because those people will not bring in their country citizens to come and work there. They may only have like 10 expatriates. But a lot of people that will be employed will be Nigerians. And either you like it, have it or not, this multinational, they are one of the best payer of staff, aside from, let's assume, Indians or they pay people, right? And in it, the federal government is going to get taxes in terms of company income tax, in terms of education tax, in terms of police trust fund, in terms of every other tax. State government is going to get taxes. They are going to get pay as you heard in terms of payee. They are going to get they are going to get development levy. Local government is going to get. So if those kind of country organization is leaving the shore of, let's assume that even they are in the free trade zone, they won't pay taxes. Then their staff is going to pay tax to the state, because their staff is not under free trade zone. It's only the organization that is under free trade zone. So the free trade zone are actually excluded from paying several taxes as an organization, but as the staff they employ, you as a governor, you are going to earn salary from, you are going to pay as you earn from them. Right? And not only that, they are going to develop the facility. There's what we call CSR, corporate social responsibility. They are going to actually do the role. And most of these organizations, because of their size, they are going to move mostly to rural areas. They are going to plant transformer. They are going to make the road a motorable road. They are going to even strengthen the security apparatus in those kind of areas. So much fun is lost due to maybe a rift between two people on the state fund. And now you allow the country to lose a huge property in Liverpool.
Yeah, now talking about losing, and you also said personal rift. I want to say, looking at the current state of things in Ogun State, that these governors, both the past and the present, are actually making informed decisions with the people in mind.
No, if you talk about making informed decision with the people in mind,
or bringing about policies or making decisions, because let's assume that Abiodun in question came into power and looking at the free trade zone and terming the policy not fruitful enough, doesn't really look for avenue to actually twerk it in such a way by the people in question. Because from the few analysis he gave, we've seen a lot of advantage, which Ogun State have lost already. Now, looking at the current state of Ogun State, even with the current governor, Dr. Abiodun, are we going to say that he made that decision aside from the personal rift with the people in mind? So
if we say it make it with the people in mind, then it's going to benefit the people. You know, I tell people that we have actually changed the definition of democracy. Democracy says government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Now we've changed it totally. It now says government for the government, by the government, and through the government. So you could see that if it's for the people, the people living in the country, who will be downsized? Is it that Abiodun's children? No. It will not even, it's just like what Fubara said. He said, if heaven fall in rivers, it's not going to affect Fubara. It's not going to affect his family. But it's just really to protect the people. So if it's for the people, the policy will not be changed. The first thing for you see, what we should know is there is power in agreement. Agreement is a powerful tool. And when we talk about in Nigeria, we can play games. But when we talk about international space, even before they sign agreement, there are a lot of parameters that have been looked into. A lot of policy, they look at the lawyers and every other thing. And when you look at Chinese lawyer, they're one of the brilliant lawyers in the world. And you bring our lawyers, they look at all the loopholes and you sign the agreement. You can't just wake up overnight and say you are changing it. You understand? It is not, if it's to Nigeria citizens, you can go away with it because you say that these are citizens we are going to. But when we get to international space, they'll go to international courts, which will decide on the case. And in the international court, you won't see Nigerian there. They might be represented, but they'll not be the dominant.
Very true.
And so the judgment will be seen to be fair because they want to have a precedent. Because like what is happening in Rivers State, there was a precedent, there was a case in Ondo State there between Abegude versus Labour Party. Abegude versus Labour Party. So those guys cross-carpeted to another party. Right? They cross-carpeted to another party. And they still want to remain. And the court ruled it and says that no, since you are cross-carpeted and there's no issue in the party, you need to go back for election before you can come back to it. And they went for election. That is a precedent. And so, in Rivers, those guys cross-carpeted, even in the TV and every other, they said we are going to Labour Party. And the whole table turned around because the senior advocate said that they do not get a good legal advisor very well then. And they now said, no, we did not say we moved to APC, we are still in PDP. I said, the TV capture it. Because there is a precedent. Any court of apparent or court of competent jurisdiction, they want to make a law in which when you take it as a precedent, it will not have a ripple effect. So when you see the international court, they make a law. So it will also act as a deterrent. That if an expert or people from other country come into your country to do business, you will not default them of their end money. You will allow their business to flow. And if you are going to change anything in agreement, because it takes two to tango, you need to have a round table to agree with them if you are going to change. And if you are, because it becomes their word against your word, if you are going to change it, they must be able to agree and based on some consensus that will favor them. Do not forget, every organization is a business to make money. And so if what you are going to bring on table is going to affect them, they have the right to terminate that. Very, very true. So let's quickly move on to our next daily, and this coming from the This Day newspaper. And the big story here says, to resolve FX liquidity pressure, CBN orders banks, IMTOs to settle diaspora remittance in Naira. Move to boost assets, strengthen local currency, provides option for same-day settlement. And that's coming from Cardozo. What do we have?
Yeah, moving on the top strip of This Day newspaper from Wale Edo. Tinubu's government has revamped Nigeria's economy. I will have about four riders, to that story, but I'll just take two. Says Nigerians' total debt stock dipped by 15% in dollar term. Puts outstanding ways and means a 3.4 trillion naira.
All right, so Doctor, this is your area of forte, and I think it's very important you help us and make sense of this. So to resolve FX liquidity pressure, CBN orders banks, IMTOs to settle diaspora remittance in Naira. Do you think this would encourage Nigerians in the diaspora to keep sending in money, knowing that the remittance will be in Naira and not in dollars, like they would always wish the recipients would get the money?
You see, we have policies, and you see, until we move from elementary economics, what is in the book, and come back to reality, we won't get results. So when we look at the elementary economics saying that, oh, do this, the question we should ask, Emefiele, the former CBN governor, before Cardozo come on board, it says that as a CBN governor, I do not have jurisdiction over the volume of money in circulation. That's why the policy of interest increase does not work. Because there's a lot of money in circulation that is outside the CBN jurisdiction, coverage, or decision, right? And you cannot decide what you don't have. That's why the CBN then says that, oh, we are changing the currency. Bring all the money you have. And so it was able to move so much money so that it will at least be able to, because if you don't have jurisdiction, it's just like you don't have to lock all the doors that enter this place. And you said you want to secure this place. What happened to the other loopholes? You can't secure it. So like this now, remember when Wale Edu, when he came on board, he said, oh, I have studied the Nigerian challenges. We will stop borrowing. We won't borrow again. Our people class said that is a brilliant guy. He's now talking sense, right? That we will ensure we use the resources we have so that we can turn around our situation. But yet we are still borrowing. And once we are borrowing, it's going to affect us, right? And the question is also that when we are borrowing, do we also use it for the purpose of borrowing? What is meant for? There was a time, even when they said the subsidy before the past government, we borrowed $800 million from the World Bank. And so we want to use it to cushion the effect of subsidy, right? And thereafter, the World Bank came up and said that, hey, you borrowed the money, and in our record, you have not disbursed this money for the purpose which you have borrowed it for. And in other words, the money has gone to use for another thing else. Do not forget there is a project you have been launched in Abuja in 2010 about CCTV, right? And we borrowed $460 million to plant CCTV in Abuja to be able to curb insecurity. By tomorrow, if there will be CCTV, we'll be able to clap. And we are now repaying a loan in foreign currency for an infrastructure we never enjoy. And this also will affect our foreign exchange reserve. Because we won't pay in local currency, we'll pay in our local reserve. And also, if actually this policy wants to work, let them stop the borrowing. And also, all transactions in Nigeria, let it be done in the local currency. It's going to strengthen our naira. A lot of people now are now saving their money in dollars because they know that we cannot rely on the strength of naira. But if I know I'm going to pay you in naira, irrespective of your transaction, I will be looking for naira, not dollar. Because you know, if more money is looking for dollar and the man has little dollar, all he has to do is to add the price of dollar for him to be able to sell to you. And before he add as he's hiking the price of dollar, another man is hiking it. And before you need more money, more naira, is running after dollar. So when we now know that, oh, it's not only that they pay like that, we must also ensure that irrespective of the transactions you are carrying out in Nigeria, you must pay in naira. So it will put little pressure on dollar. And it will now put more pressure in naira. So our currency will now become more valuable. Right? There was a time I saw this 20 naira, the green note. Honestly, I do not think that maybe it's still a tender. Because when a guy went to the bank, one of my colleagues went to the bank and they gave him this 20. I said, are you sure you can spend this money? He said, I can. Because it has lost its value. Do you understand? So most things should be done. It's not about me sending, because if you are sending it, you know, the more money they send into Nigeria, the more it's going to strengthen our foreign exchange reserve. So do not tell them, if you don't need to talk, because you know that once they are withdrawing it will make the dollar useless because they can't use it to transact.
Very true.
So they won't have to put more pressure on it. It is them that say that, oh, don't give me dollar, give me the equivalent of it in naira, because every transaction I'm going to make, nobody is going to collect this money from me.
Very true. All right, so quickly and finally, let's go on to our last daily. This is coming from the Guardian newspaper. What do we have, Chuma?
Yeah, the top strip of the Guardian newspaper. Poor states rack up debts, leave $335 billion minerals to illegal miners. Details are on page 6.
All right, and we have on the bottom strip of the same newspaper, Govt concerns as EFCC shells Akpabio at the autumn orders files.
And still on the Guardian newspaper on cholera outbreak, 10 million Almajiri street kids at high risk.
All right, so just for the want of time, I think we'll just have to leave it at that. What questions do you think we have on this?
Okay, let's talk about the cholera outbreak. We don't know how they're actually trying to manage the outbreak, and school children are back in school, and we were expecting at least that the Ministry of Health would actually come out or in just partner with the Ministry of Education to say, okay, students should not go to school for about 2-3 weeks or so, and maybe they get to fumigate or do 1 or 2 cleaning, then to educate them on how to go through the personal hygiene. But unfortunately, they are back to school.
They're back. But most importantly, the story here is about Almajiris.
Yes.
Now, these are children who are, going about the streets in droves. If there should be one target of cholera, those should be one of the most important target for cholera. Now, how do you think in the northern part of Nigeria, the issue of cholera would be possibly reduced to the barest, knowing that Almajiris are all over the place?
Do you know the funniest thing is that those guys develop strong immune. Have you heard anybody that died from the north during this cholera situation? More than 40 people have died in Lagos.
But don't you think it's because it's not recorded?
No, it's not because it's not recorded. When you get to Lekki side, a lot of houses has no outlets. Their distance is laid directly to the road. So once there's an heavy rainfall, you see their feces interacting with people. Right? They don't have good suck away, right? So, and the thing is not even, the way even now, this cholera has been in ages. Even when there was a time of COVID, they said COVID is not a Nigerian thing. It's not a Nigerian thing when we talk about cholera. Because our medical, our hospital are not fully equipped. You said the state government said that when you get to general hospital, cholera treatment is free. No, they will just tell you that it's not free. Even if they might give you drug, we don't have the drug. The one other thing to be invested in is our hospital amenities. I remember during COVID, the man that is in charge of the head, he said does not know that this is how deplorable our health facilities is. Then, what have we done up to now? You see, I actually commiserate with the Deputy Controller General that passed on yesterday at the questioning at the assembly. Right? We have everybody with natural ailments in their body. But if we have good medical facility, then you will quickly revive him. Don't forget what goes around comes around. If you think that there's some sickness that will not wait for 15 minutes, you think that you can easily flown out of the country and you say, I don't have 5 minutes with you.
Very true.
There was a time even in National, they said there is no paracetamol. And so the question is that we are not only in illness to other people, but to ourselves, because we have a plan B and safe about outside the country. I'm of the opinion saying that if you want to come to government, if you want to be elected, we have a thing to take. Number one, if you are sick, you must be treated in Nigeria. Number two, your children must school in Nigeria. Yeah. So if I know that I'll be treated in Nigeria, cause demand that I will ensure that the medical apparatus in Nigeria is 100% okay. And like I said, if you want to get a visa to US, it's more easier than to get a visa to Dubai, to India. India has built their system to be one of the best that have medical apparatus in the world. And when you get there technologically, they are doing well. So we must be able to come back to drawing board and say that let us ensure that we have a good facilities in Nigeria and make Nigeria so that if there's any issue of sickness, we can quickly go there and get ourselves ill. It does not cost us so much to put all these things in place. If we can pay so much as allowance, we can renovate the VP house with trillions of naira, which could wait. We could do a lot. We can plan for a private jet for millions of. When you look at one of the video that is trailing, the Kenya governor, president was saying that it cannot be so stupid to go and buy so much, to invest so much and buy a new plane. He's a responsible president. So who is he throwing jab to? He's throwing jab to. So which means that I have so much thing to do with money than to waste it on frivolous thing. So if I know that my plane is not good as a, there was a time the president said we want to sell it during Buhari. They didn't sell it. And we want to buy another new one. That's why I said that we major on the minor, we major on the minor, minor on the major.
Yeah.
These are the when we talk about clothing, shelter, and feeding. And if part of it is to ensure that we have free medical facility. These are one of the things they enjoy outside the country. When you see people, you are sick, let's treat you for life first. Other things will follow. That's why we need to invest so much in our medical facilities and have a plan B so that we don't lose as citizens just for things that could be cured. ASAP. Because if we allow them to go, we shouldn't forget there's some sickness that will not wait for us to fly outside the country before we get here.
Very, very true. And just like our guest did say, we major in the minor and minor in the major. Thank you so very much, Doctor, for being part of our show today. It was really indeed a great time. And just to let you know that he will be here to take us also on our main conversation for today.
Yeah, our main conversation comes shortly. And when we return, FEC steps down minimum wage memo for Tinubu to consult governors and private sector. We will be right back.